the day, beautiful people. Top of the day. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, Shayla. Great rising. That's Wabu. Let's see. I could just copy and paste. Hold on one second. Move this all around. Okay, y'all. We good. We good. Okay. Well, happy Sunday, everybody. It is January 16th, 2022, day number 6 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets and of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1024. I went back and watched the video yesterday, and I said I was still seeing year 3. So I got to catch myself. Starting a new year, I got to remember to change a couple of the numbers. All right, y'all. Today we're reading Genesis 16 through 17, and then we're going to pick up where we left off at in the C.I.A. document. And today is going to be entitled C.I.A. document part 5. Keep Muntu Kikuyu Star 87 CME. Okay, y'all. So let's go ahead and get this started real quick. Move this over. Oops. No, I'm going to minimize it all the way. All right, y'all. The Shema is found in Deuteronomy chapter 6. We started reading the whole chapter simply because we wanted to keep everything in its full context. All right, y'all. A call for wholehearted commitment is the title from the NLT version when you go to Deuteronomy chapter 6. But this is where the Shema is found. These are the commands, decrees, and regulations that Yahuwah, your God, commanded me to teach you. You must obey them in the land you are about to enter and occupy, and you and your children and your grandchildren must fear Yahuwah, your God, as long as you live. If you obey all his decrees and commands, you will enjoy a long life. Listen closely, Israel, and be careful to obey. Then all will go well with you. And you will have many children in the land flowing with milk and honey, just as Yahuwah, the God of your ancestors, promised you. Listen, O Israel, Yahuwah, our God, he is God alone. And you must love Yahuwah, your God, with all your heart, all your soul, and all your strength. And you must commit yourselves wholeheartedly to these commands that I'm giving you today. Repeat them again and again to your children. Talk about them when you're at home and when you're on the road, when you're going to bed and when you're getting up. Tie them to your hands and wear them on your forehead as reminders. Write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Then Yahuwah your God will soon bring you into the land that he swore to give to you when he made a vow to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It is a land with large, prosperous cities that you did not build. The houses will be richly stocked with goods that you did not produce. You will draw water from cisterns you did not dig, and you will eat from vineyards and olive trees you did not plant. When you have eaten your fill in this land, be careful not to forget Yahuwah who rescued you from slavery in the land of Egypt. You must fear Yahuwah your God and serve him. When you take an oath, you must only use his name. You must not worship any of the gods of the neighboring nations, for the Lord your God who lives among you is a jealous God. His anger will flare up against you, and he will wipe you from the face of the earth. You must not test Yahuwah your God as you did when you complained at Massa. You must diligently obey the commands Yahuwah your God has given you, all the laws and decrees. I messed that sentence up, but I still said what was in it. I just kind of switched it around. Do what is right and good in Yahuwah's sight, so all will go well with you. Then you will enter and occupy the good land that the Lord swore to give to your ancestors. You will drive out all the enemies living in the land, just as Yahuwah said you would. In the future, your children will ask you, what is the meaning of these laws, decrees, and regulations that Yahuwah our God has commanded us to obey? Then you must tell them, we were Pharaoh's slaves in Egypt, but Yahuwah brought us out of Egypt with his strong hand. Yahuwah did miraculous signs and wonders before our eyes, dealing terrifying blows against Egypt and Pharaoh and all his people. He brought us out of Egypt so he could give us this land he had sworn to give to our ancestors. And Yahuwah our God commanded us to obey all these decrees and to fear him so that he can continue to bless us and preserve our lives as he has done to this day. For we will be counted as righteous when we obey the commands Yahuwah our God has given us. Uncle Nathaniel, peaceful greetings. Jen, shalom, shalom. Okay, y'all, so let's get right to it. Genesis chapter 16. Robert Betwabu. Okay, Genesis chapter 16, the birth of Ishmael. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had not been able to bear children for him, but she had an Egyptian servant named Hagar. So Sarai said to Abram, the Lord has prevented me from having children. Go and sleep with my servant. Perhaps I can have children through her. And Abram agreed to Sarai's proposal. So Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, the Egyptian servant, and gave her to Abram as a wife. This happened 10 years after Abram had settled in the land of Canaan. So Abram had sexual relations with Hagar, and she became pregnant. But when Hagar knew she was pregnant, she began to treat her mistress, Sarai, with contempt. Then Sarai said to Abram, this is all your fault. I put my servant into your arms, but now that she's pregnant, she treats me with contempt. The Lord will show who's wrong, you or me. Now, if y'all didn't read further about this story in the Legends of the Jews, you can see some of the shenanigans Hagar was really pulling. I would recommend you go read that. The link that I shared yesterday, actually, if you went to that link yesterday and you read that whole page from the website that I gave you from Sacred Text, for the Legends of the Jews, you probably would have, I don't remember if it was on that exact page or if you went to the next one, but if you go back to that link, and I'll reshare that same link. Y'all gotta read it. It's funny. Go back and read that so you can kind of get some more details. Because Hagar wasn't this innocent bystander. Oh, I just got caught up in this menage a trois. Well, no, it wasn't the three of them. She just got caught up in the shenanigans and Sarai being impatient, right? But she did. She had some shenanigans going on. That's why she was pissing Sarai off. Okay. But when Hagar knew she was pregnant, she began to treat her mistress Sarai with contempt. Then Sarai said to Abram, this is all your fault. I put my servant into your arms, but now that she's pregnant, she treats me with contempt. The Lord will show who's wrong, you or me. Abraham look, she's your servant, so deal with her as you see fit. Then Sarai treated Hagar so harshly that she finally ran away. The angel of the Lord found Hagar beside a spring of water in the wilderness along the road to Shur. The angel said to her, Hagar, Sarai's servant, where have you come from and where are you going? I'm running away from my mistress, Sarai, she replied. Like this make Hagar seem like she's just so innocent, right? And she was just doing the good bidding of her mistress. I'm running away from my mistress, Sarai, she replied. The angel of the Lord said to her, return to your mistress and submit to her authority. Then he added, I will give you more descendants than you can count. And the angel also said, you are now pregnant and will give birth to a son. You are to name him Ishmael, which means God hears. For the Lord has heard your cry of distress. This son of yours will be a wild man, as untamed as a wild donkey. He will raise his fist against everyone, and everyone will be against him. Yes, he will live in open hostility against all his relatives. After Hagar used another name to refer to the Lord, therefore, Hagar used another name to refer to the Lord who had spoken to her. She said, "You are the God who sees me." She also said, have I truly seen the one who sees me? So that so that well was named Bir Lahai Roi, which means well of the living one who sees me. It can still be found between Kadesh and Bared. So Hagar gave Abram a son, and Abram named him Ishmael. Abram was six. I'm sorry. Abram was 86 years old when Ishmael was born. Genesis chapter 17. Abram is named Abraham. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him and said, "I am El Shaddai, God Almighty. Serve me faithfully and live a blameless life. I will make a covenant with you by which I will guarantee to give you countless descendants." At this, Abram fell face down on the ground. Then God said to him, "This is my covenant with you. I will make you the father of a multitude of nations. What's more, I am changing your name. It will no longer be Abram. Instead, you will be called Abraham, for you will be the father of many nations. I will make you extremely fruitful. Your descendants will become many nations, and kings will be among them. I will confirm my covenant with you and your descendants after you from generation to generation. This is the everlasting covenant. I will always be your God and the God of your descendants after you. And I will give the entire land of Canaan, where you live now as a foreigner, to you and to your descendants. It will be their possession forever, and I will be their God. The mark of the covenant. Then God said to Abraham, "Your responsibility is to obey the terms of the covenant. You and all your descendants have this continual responsibility. This is the covenant that you and your descendants must keep. Each male among you is to be circumcised. You must cut off the flesh of your foreskin as the sign of the covenant between me and you. From generation to generation, every male child must be circumcised on the eighth day after his birth. This applies not only to members of your family, but also to the servants born in your household and the foreign-born servants whom you have purchased. All must be circumcised. Your bodies will bear the mark of my everlasting covenant. Any male who fails to be circumcised will be cut off from the covenant family for breaking the covenant." Sarai is named Sarah. Then God said to Abraham, "Regarding Sarai, your wife, her name will no longer be Sarai. From now on, her name will be Sarah, and I will bless her and give you a son from her. Yes, I will bless her richly, and she will become the mother of many nations. Kings of nations will be among her descendants." Then Abraham bowed down to the ground, but he laughed to himself in disbelief. How could I become a father at the age of 100, he thought. And how can Sarah have a baby when she is 90 years old? So Abraham said to God, "May Ishmael live under your special blessing." Yeah, I seen that, Dana. I haven't I'm looking at it. Some things he's saying is making sense, but I haven't personally gotten into the deeper details of it just yet. But I'm looking into it. I ain't disagreeing with him. I can't fully agree yet, but medically, I'm gonna say medically it makes sense what he's saying, but I gotta look into it. Remember, it's a lot of shenanigans everywhere. I just gotta go back and check my stuff, but medically, what he's saying, it makes sense. Audrey, shalom, shalom, Josiah, shalom. But yeah, so she mentioned about what Yaki is talking about with the circumcision. It makes sense medically. And if you go read through like the Gospel of the Holy 12, and if you have like a copy of the Megillah, I saw a couple of screenshots from some things from the Holy Megillah. You can the one I'm trying to get, I've been trying to get it like a printed version. I'm trying to get in touch with the from what I can see, the only company right now that has copies of it. I've been calling them because you can't, like, they don't have like a ordering website online. You got to call them or you got to write them. So, or you can email them. So I'm just kind of waiting for like a response from them. So, because there's some things in there that I want to put my eyes on myself, just add to my studies. But yeah, I haven't personally gone down that lane just yet, but I medically I cannot discount what he is saying. Okay. And so Abram said to God, "May Ishmael live under your special blessing." But God replied, "No, Sarah, your wife, will give birth to a son for you. You will name him Isaac, and I will confirm my covenant with him and his descendants as an everlasting covenant. As for Ishmael, I will bless him also, just as you have asked. I will make him extremely fruitful and multiply his descendants. He will become the father of 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will be confirmed with Isaac, who will be born to you and Sarah about this time next year." When God had finished speaking, he left Abraham. On that very day, Abraham took his son Ishmael and every male in his household, including those born there and those he had bought. Then he circumcised them, cutting off their foreskins just as God told him. Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised, and Ishmael his son was 13. Both Abraham and his son Ishmael were circumcised on that same day, along with the other men and boys of the household, whether they were born there or bought as servants. All were circumcised with him. Genesis chapter 18. A son is promised to Sarah. The Lord again appeared to Abraham near the oak grove belonging to Mamre. One day, Abraham was sitting at the entrance to his tent during the hottest part of the day. He looked up and noticed three men standing nearby. When he saw them, he ran to meet them and welcomed them, bowing low to the ground. "My Lord," he said, "if it pleases you, stop here for a while. Rest in the shade of this tree while water is brought to wash your feet. And since you've honored your servant with this visit, let me prepare some food to refresh you right before you continue on your journey." "All right," they said, "do as you have said." So Abraham ran back to the tent and said to Sarah, "Hurry, get 3 large measures of your best flour, knead it into dough, and make some bread." Then Abraham ran out to the herd and chose a tender calf and gave it to his servant, who quickly prepared it. When the food was ready, Abraham took some yogurt and milk and the roasted meat, and he served it to the men. As they ate, Abraham waited on them in the shade of the trees. "Where is Sarah, your wife?" the visitors asked. "She's inside the tent," Abraham replied. Then one of them said, "I will return to you about this time next year, and your wife, Sarah, will have a son." Sarah was listening to this conversation from the tent. Abraham and Sarah were both very old by this time, and Sarah was long past the age of having children. So she laughed silently to herself and said, "How could a worn out old woman like me enjoy such pleasure, especially when my master, my husband, is so old?" Then the Lord said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh? Why did she say, 'Can an old woman like me have a baby?' Is there anything too hard for the Lord? I will return about this time next year, and Sarah will have a son." Sarah was afraid, so she denied it, saying, "I didn't laugh." But the Lord said, "No, you did laugh." Abraham intercedes for Sodom. Then the men got up from their meal and looked out toward Sodom. As they left, Abraham went with them on their way. Abraham will certainly become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed through him. I have singled him out so that he will direct his sons and their families to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and just. Then I will do for Abraham all that I have promised. So the Lord told Abraham, "I have heard a great outcry from Sodom and Gomorrah because their sin is so flagrant. I'm going down to see if their actions are as wicked as I have heard. If not, I want to know." The other men turned and headed towards Sodom, but the Lord remained with Abraham. Abraham approached him and said, "Will you sweep away both the righteous and the wicked?" Suppose you find 50 righteous people living there in a city. Will you still sweep them away and not spare it for their sakes? Surely I wouldn't do such a thing, destroying the righteous along with the wicked. Why would you be treating why you would be treating the righteous and the wicked I'm sorry. Why you would be treating the righteous and the wicked exactly the same? Surely you wouldn't do that. Should not the judge of all the earth do what is right? And the Lord replied, if I find 50 righteous people in Sodom, I will spare the entire city for their sake. Then Abraham spoke again. Since I have begun, let me speak further to my Lord, even though I am but dust and ashes. Suppose there are only 45 righteous people rather than 50. Will you destroy the whole city for lack of 5? And the Lord said, I will not destroy if I find 45 righteous people there. Then Abraham pressed his request further. Suppose there are only 40. And the Lord replied, I will not destroy it for the sake of 40. Please don't be angry with me, my Lord. Abraham pleaded, let me speak. Suppose only 30 righteous people are found. And the Lord replied, I will not destroy it if I find 30. Then Abraham said, since I have dared to speak to the Lord, let me continue. Suppose there are only 20. Then the Lord replied, I will not destroy it for the sake of 20. Finally, Abraham said, Lord, please don't be angry with me if I speak one more time. Suppose only 10 are found there. And the Lord replied, then I will not destroy it for the sake of 10. When the Lord had finished his conversation with Abraham, he went on his way, and Abraham returned to his tent. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today, Genesis 16, 17, and 18. All right, let us go on back here to this C.I.A. document. I gotta find my place because I was back in it yesterday going through some stuff. We ended at the end of number 30 after all of the letters. What was that page? Was it 22, I think? No. Page 25. Okay, we're on page 25, y'all. The link to the document, if you don't have it, I posted it at the top. So scroll up, click on it. I'm not sure if you can read it while we're going along, but it's there. Lavon, blessings, blessings. Okay. Okay, so we was going through number 30, and number 30 was giving you the different type of things that you could do when you're in that in-between state, or you're astral projecting, or you're having an open vision, so to speak, right? You can do problem solving, patterning. They got the energy bar tool, remote viewing, your living body map, uh, focus 15, meaning traveling into the past. And the last one was H, focus 21, being able to travel into the future or see in the future. But we also know that what we see in the future may not necessarily happen if certain things are changed that we're doing today. So it could be adjusted and it could be spot on. If we just continue the certain path that we're going, it will play out just like we saw. But if we see it and it's things that could possibly happen, like warnings, we can adjust. Like I've had those type of things happening. Like I've been able to see ahead and seeing things happening, like especially with our business. Like if we do this, this is going to happen. And one time I told my husband, I told y'all about it. It was a few months back, about one thing with our business and something that was happening that I told my husband about, which caused us to lose the biggest contract we ever had. I actually saw that, right? And I told my husband as a warning, and I think that was when it really clicked with him that what I be seeing, like if we don't take heed to it, it's going to happen, or it's going to play out similarly. But at least he didn't realize, or we both didn't realize, that it would play out to the magnitude that it did, right? This was the biggest client that we had, right? That one client was bringing us in over $300,000 a year, and that was in the early 2000s. We didn't listen to that warning that we saw, and it played out just like that. Just like that. I saw my husband walking into the office of one of our contractors' clients, and they had our company. It was a company brochure that we made at the time because we really wasn't savvy so much with the internet, so we was making, well, I was having little brochures made. And so when we would go to like networking meetings and stuff, this is the information in a nutshell for our company. I could fit more into a brochure than I could on our business card. Right, here's about us, these are the services our company offer, and so boom, just a quick overview, right? All our certifications, all that stuff, right? I saw them, my my I saw the scene play out. The contractor that we was working for had a client that we were doing work for, but this client actually, he was sitting at his desk, and our prime contractor actually walked into his office, and the client of the contractor that we had took this brochure that we had made that my husband had given to him, because my husband had went to go see him. He walked into his office, talked to him, and I'm like, tell me you didn't do that, tell me you didn't do that, tell me you didn't do that. He's like, man, he needs to know we already doing work outside, but not directly for him. We're doing it through our pride. My husband walked in, gave it to the contractor, whatever. They had a conversation. Everything seemed nice and good. Everything seemed nice and good. But then I had this dream. It played out because before my husband went to go do it, he talked to me. He said, I'm thinking about going to talk to such and such. I was like, we might not want to do that. Right. And that, because we had talked about it for a couple of days. He was like, well, we really could. I'm like, I don't think it's going to benefit us if we do it that way. Had a dream about it, and I actually saw it. I actually saw it, how it played out. And I knew it played out just like I had saw it, because when our prime came back to my husband, he explained to him what had happened. And then when my husband came back and told me, I said, that's exactly what I saw. That's exactly what I saw. Boy, I tell you, you can change the outcome of the future when you see it by adjusting some of the things that you got going on now. And I kind of actually look forward to seeing things like that in the future. I'm like, okay, what I want to see is warnings. How's things gonna play out if we make certain decisions? That's when we kind of learn to listen to those things. Trina, hey girl, hey, that's Wabu. So yeah, so that's kind of what Focus 21 talks about. But you can also see other things, you know. Church calls it uh church calls it prophecies, right? They have an open vision or a dream or something, and they'll call it a prophecy, right? But everybody's doing it. Okay, so page 25, after um the Focus 21 section, it goes into number 31. And we actually only have 5 pages left, y'all. This document is 30 pages, then it has a bibliography. So we're gonna finish this today, and then tomorrow we'll start my big toe. All right. Number 31, out of body movement. This remarkable phenomenon has been saved for discussion in detail until last because of the interest which it occasions and special circumstances involved in its attainment. Monroe Institute stresses that the Gateway Program was not established solely for the purpose of enabling participants to obtain the out of body state, nor does the program guarantee most participants will succeed in doing it during the course of the training at the Institute. Let me read it again. This remarkable phenomenon has been saved for discussion in detail until last because of the interest which it occasions and special circumstances involved in its attainment. Monroe Institute stresses that the Gateway Program was not established solely for the purpose of enabling participants to obtain the out of body state, nor does the program guarantee that most participants will succeed in doing it during the course of the training at the Institute. Only one tape, excuse me, only one tape out of the many which make up the Gateway experience is devoted to the technique involved in the out of body movement. Basically, these techniques are merely designed to make it easier for the individual to achieve the out of body state when his brainwave pattern and personal energy levels have reached a point that he is in apparent harmony with his surrounding electromagnetic environment, such that he feels that he has reached the threshold where separation is a possibility. I read it again. That was a long sentence. Basically, these techniques are merely designed to make it easier for the individual to achieve the outer body state when his brainwave pattern and personal energy levels have reached a point that he is in apparent harmony with his surrounding electromagnetic environment, such that he feels that he has reached the threshold where the separation is a possibility. To facilitate achieving the out of body state, Bob Monroe, the founder of the Monroe Institute, is quoted in a recent magazine article as saying that in order to assist the participant, hold on, to facilitate achieving the out of body state, Bob Monroe, the founder of the Monroe Institute, is quoted in a recent magazine article as saying that in order to assist the participant, the particular hemisync tape concerned with that technique employs beta signals of around 2877.3 CPS. CPS is cycles per second. Since 30 to 40 CPS is considered to be the normal range for beta brainwave signals, those associated with the wakeful state, it is apparent that the Monroe Institute is convinced that the same heightened state of brainwave frequency output. Hold on, let me lose my space. Hold on. Hold on. Let me go back up. Okay. Since 30 to 40 CPS is considered to be the normal range for beta brainwave signals, those associated with the wakeful state, it is apparent that the Monroe Institute is convinced that the same heightened state of brainwave frequency output, which promotes altered states of consciousness, is also an important consideration in assisting in achievement of out of body states. The actual techniques employed for separating the body involve such simple maneuvers as rolling out, lifting out after the fashion of a telephone pole, wherein the individual separates in a rigid, head first manner, such that he finds himself standing at attention at the foot of his physical body, sliding out either and sliding out. I'm sorry. Blah. Hold on. The actual techniques employed for separating the body involves such simple maneuvers as rolling out, lifting out after the fashion of a telephone pole, wherein the individual separates in a rigid head first manner, such that he finds himself standing at attention at the foot of his physical body and sliding out through either end of his body. Number 32, role of REM sleep. It is interesting to note that Bob Monroe informed the Gateway class that finished the 7th of May, 1983, that an ex-trainer of his operating in Charlottesville, Virginia, found that he could guarantee out-of-body movements by bringing participants down into a rigid, rapid eye movement. Ooh, wait a minute. Somebody, hold on, y'all. Ooh, I'm gonna share this video. Oh, snap. Because I was wondering, ooh, I didn't try it. I heard it. I was like, I'll try this a little bit later. I need to check into it. Hold on. Okay, listen to what he just said. Hold on. Okay. It is interesting to note that Bob Monroe informed the Gateway class that finished the 7th of May, 1983, that an ex-trainer of his operating in Charlottesville, Virginia, found that he could guarantee out of body movements by bringing participants down into a rapid eye movement state of sleep and then use the hemisync tape technique. This may well be a function of the fact that most, if not all, people reputedly go into an out of body state during REM sleep. I'm gonna read that again. I'm messing that up. Okay, there was there was this video I saw. Let me pause for a second before I share the details of that. Let me finish reading this. I gotta put my thoughts together because I was still looking at that just yesterday. Okay, hold on. Let me go back. I gotta stop moving so fast. It went out. Hold on. It's back, Shayla. Okay. Can y'all see me? YouTube? Okay, cool. Okay. All right. I'm glad I looked up. All right. Mom, shalom, shalom. Okay. Let me just go back. I'm going to quit getting ahead of myself, y'all, because I be checking into things. And I don't want to give y'all information too fast before I actually go look at it. But he mentioned something that I was actually looking into yesterday. Okay. I'll start over. Number 32, role of REM sleep. It is interesting to note that Bob Monroe informed the Gateway class that finished on the 7th of May, 1983, that an ex-trainer of his operating in Charlottesville, Virginia, found that he could guarantee out-of-body movements by bringing participants down into a rapid eye movement or REM state of sleep and then use the hemi-sync technique. This may well be a function of the fact that most, if not all people, reputedly go into an out-of-body state during REM sleep. REM sleep is the deepest possible level of ordinary sleep and involves complete disengagement of the body's motor cortex functions from the neck down and nearly complete suppression of consciousness in the left brain hemisphere. The effect of this is to put the body in a state of complete stillness so far as the skeletal muscle structure is concerned, thereby further promoting the state of sleep, thereby promoting the state of deep rest needed to eliminate the bifurcation echo. In addition, it leaves the right hemisphere of the brain free to respond to the instructions and suggestions contained on the gateway tape. However, use of the hemisync tapes at this point may be less a factor in actually achieving the out of body state than it is a matter of focusing the brain enough so that the residual memory of having naturally achieved an out of body state is carried into the waking state. I'll read it again. However, use of the hemi-sync tapes at this point may be less a factor in actually achieving the out-of-body state than it is a matter of focusing the brain enough so that the residual memory of having naturally achieved an out-of-body state is carried into the waking state. Indeed, it may be even postulated that some dreams associated with deep levels of sleep are in fact functions of the same kind of altered consciousness involved in interaction with the universe that plays a role in all of the focus 12, 15, and 21 states as described above. The difference between those states and the condition of the mind in REM sleep seems to be that the left hemisphere is almost totally disengaged in the latter experience, such that memory of what was achieved in the altered states of consciousness cannot usually be retrieved by conscious desires because the left hemisphere has no knowledge of its existence or its location in the right hemisphere, which makes sense. Why people can't remember some of the out of body experiences they have. That makes sense to me. Admittedly, some people can be trained to remember in their REM state dreams through intense conditioning in the waking state, but even that may be more a function of establishing pathways in the right hemisphere, which the left hemisphere can access following re entry into the wakeful state, than it is an indication of any specific left hemisphere conscious involvement in the process during REM sleep. In any event, the three apparent conditions required for voluntary inducing an out-of-body state in most individuals seems to be number one, achievement of a state of profound quiet in the body, such that the bifurcation echo fades and resonance at approximately 7 hertz is established. Number two, synchronization of the two brain hemisphere wave patterns. And three, subsequent stimulation of the right hemisphere of the mind to attain a state of heightened alertness, which of course interferes with brain hemisphere synchronization, but not until a sufficient level of enhanced frequency range has first been established to help achieve the out of body state. May y'all keep y'all safe as y'all travel. Auntie. All right, number 33, information collection potential. The information acquisition potentially, the information acquisition potential associated with the out of body state seems to attract the most attention from the standpoint of developing practical applications for the gateway process. Unfortunately, although the out of body state can apparently be achieved by many people without excessive expenditure of time or effort, the purpose to which it can be put are currently limited by the fact that although individuals in that state may travel anywhere on an instantaneous basis in either the terrestrial or the other spheres, information distortion in the former context remains a major concern. To date, according to one of the trainers at Monroe Institute, numerous experiments have been conducted involving persons moving from one coast to the other in the out of body state to read a series of 10 computer generated numbers in a university laboratory. Let me go back. To date, according to one of the trainers at Monroe Institute, numerous experiments have been conducted involving persons moving from one coast to the other in the out of body state to read a series of 10 computer generated numbers in a university laboratory. Although most have acquired enough of the digits to make clear that their consciousness was present, none have ever succeeded in getting all 10 correct. This seems to be a function of the fact that physical reality in the present is not the only holographic influence which the individual may encounter in an out of body state. There are also energy patterns left by people or events occurring at the same physical site being viewed, but from the past rather than the present. In addition, since thoughts are the product of energy patterns and energy patterns are reality, it may also be possible that individuals encounter thought forms while in out of body state, which mingle with the physical reality and are not easily differentiated. Finally, as Melissa Jagger writes, there is another potential problem area in the same sense that holograms can be viewed pseudoscopically, this is to say, inside or backwards, just as well as they can be seen in proper perspective. Some of the distortions occurring may ultimately prove to be traceable to this cause because, in the out of body state, an individual may perceive the holographic energy patterns given off by people or things interacting in time space reality in a somewhat distorted form. Number 34, belief system considerations. In 1967, Alexandra David Neal and Lama Yagden wrote a book entitled Secret Oral Teachings in Tibetan Buddhist Sects, from which the following quote is taken. Quote, "The tangible world is movement, say the masters, not a collection of moving objects, but movement itself. There are no subjects in movement. It is the movement which constitutes the objects which appear to us. They are nothing but movement. This movement is a continued and infinitely rapid succession of flashes of energy. In Tibetan, Saul or Shug. Saul is Tsal or Shug, Shoug. All objects perceptible to our senses, all phenomena of whatever kind and whatever aspect they may assume, are constituted by a rapid succession of instantaneous events. End quote. The classic description of the universal hologram is to be found in a Hindu sutra which says, quote, in the heaven of Indra, there is said to be a network of pearls so arranged that if you look at one, you see all the others reflected in it. End quote. I have cited this quotation because it shows that the concept of the universe, which at least some physicists are now coming to accept, is identical in its essential aspects with the one known to the learned elite in selected civilizations and cultures of high attainment in the ancient world. The concept of the cosmic egg, for example, is well known to scholars familiar with the ancient writings of Eastern religions. What he said, the cosmic egg is the Merkaba, right? I'm gonna show y'all a picture. I screenshot from one of the videos from Billy Carson where he showed different Merkabas, and you can see a lot of them. It's like um, the triangle, right? But there's also ones that are oval, like what they're shaping in like an egg form or whatever. But I'll show you, it's a couple different ones, and they were showing that all these are considered to be Merkabas, right? Merkaba, 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 however you want to pronounce it. Okay. I have cited this quotation because it shows that the concept of the universe, which at least some physicists are now coming to accept, is identical in its essential aspects with the one known to the learned elite in selected civilizations and cultures of high attainment in the ancient world. The concept of the cosmic egg or the Merkaba, for example, is well known to scholars familiar with the ancient writings of the Eastern religions, nor are the theories presented in this paper at variance with the essential tenets of the Judeo Christian stream of thought. The concept of visible reality, i.e., the created world, as being an emanation of an omnipotent and omniscient divinity who is completely unknowable in his primary state of being. The absolute at rest in infinity is a concept straight out of Hebrew mystical philosophy. Even the Christian concept of the Trinity shines through the description of the absolute as presented in this paper. The description of energy totally at rest in infinity fits the Christian metaphysical concept of the Father, while the infinite self conscious resident in that energy, providing the motive force of will to bring a portion of that energy into motion to create reality, corresponds with the Son. This is so because, in order to attain self consciousness, the consciousness of the absolute, remember the absolute is considered the great creator, Yah, we call him Yah, other people call him other things, but the creator of the world, right? This is so because, in order to attain self consciousness, the consciousness of the absolute must project a hologram of itself and then perceive it. That hologram is a mirror image of the absolute in infinity, still exists outside of time and space, but it is one step removed from the absolute and is the actual agent of all creation, all reality. And the eternal thought or concept of self, which results from this self conscious Self-consciousness serves the, we missing 4 pages. 4 pages have been deleted from this document. I didn't pick that up. I gotta find now. I'm gonna be looking for missing pages. It jumps from page 24. The number 24 at the bottom of the page. It jumps from page 24. Doesn't have a number on this page. Oh, hold on. It jumped. What is this? 26. No, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong. It's missing 1 page. The page number is kind of covered up by the approved for release down at the bottom. It's 26. Okay, so it's page 28 of my Kindle document as it's counting the pages. But the page numbers on the actual document, it goes from 24 to 26. So we don't get the rest of this. This sentence was 34. And it's missing 2 sections. So it goes from we're reading section number 34. Then the next page picks up number 37. So I'm gonna look for it. I'm not sure that I'm gonna find it, but it was probably scrubbed in the approved release, right? It's probably what they've pulled out from the other stuff. So apparently it's some stuff that they don't want us to know. Oh, that burns my buttons. Now I gotta figure it out. Okay, so I'm gonna just read this last sentence again where it cuts off, and then we'll just jump from 34 to 37, I guess. And we ain't got no other choice at this point, right? And the eternal thought or concept of self, which results from this self-consciousness, serves the, and that's the last bit of that. And now we just got to move to number 37. Number 37, motivational aspect. It is a step-by-step procedure which involves repetitive practice of the techniques concerned, using each new insight as a means of penetrating farther during the next practice session. But the rate of progress is so much faster with the gateway approach than it is with transcendental meditation or other forms of mental self discipline, and its horizons seem to be much wider that the discipline needed to practice it would seem to be within the means of even the impatient, result oriented, skeptical pragmatists of our society. Unlike yoga and other forms of Eastern mental discipline, Gateway does not require the infinite patience and total personal subservience to and faith in a system of discipline designed to absorb all the individual's energies over most of a lifetime. So remember how I say all of these things, if you begin to practice them, if you do it naturally, and you stay consistent on this path of instruction and learning spiritually, a lot of spiritual gifts would actually unfold to you as you progress on this path throughout time. It should take a whole life for it to begin to unfold and for you to be efficient in operating in a lot of these things. But it's not until you get older. But along the way, you'll learn how to do some stuff, right? They've taken this process, which Yah, our creator, has designed to be a lifetime holistic process, so we understand everything and we don't get into places that we can't get out of, right? Or end up wanting to kill ourselves because we didn't forwarded our education, missing bits and pieces, and now we stuck. They've taken that lifelong process, that process, and they scrunched it down into a very small time period to get the results that they want to see so they can use it, right? And they call it the gateway process. Listen, I'm going to start it over. Number 37, motivational aspect. It is a step-by-step procedure in which involves repetitive practice of the techniques concerned, using each new insight as a means of penetrating farther during the next practice session. But the rate of progression is so much faster with the gateway approach than it is with transcendental meditation or other forms of mental self discipline, and its horizons seem to be so much wider that the discipline needed to practice it would seem to be within the means of even the impatient, result oriented, skeptical pragmatists of our society. Unlike yoga and other forms of Eastern mental discipline, Gateway does not require the infinite patience and total personal subservience to and faith in a system of discipline designed to absorb all the individual's energies over most of a lifetime. Rather, it will begin to produce at least minimal results within a relatively short time, such that enough feedback is available to motivate and energize the individual to continue working with it. Indeed, the speed with which an individual may expect to progress seems less a function of the number of hours spent practicing than it is a question of the speed with which he or she is able to use the insights gained to release anxieties and stresses within both the mind and the body. These points of energy blockage seem to provide the principal barriers to achieving the enhanced energy states and focus of mind needed for rapid progression. The more compulsive, the more uptight the individual may be at the outset, the more barriers he or she will initially encounter to achieving a deep or immediate experience. But as the insights begin to come, and the blockages begin to dissolve, the way ahead becomes increasingly clear, and the value of Gateway moves from the status of a matter of intellectual assessment to one of personal experience. And we move to number 38. And so here's the conclusion of the matter of their research and doing all this, right? And yet, Dana, I saw your comment earlier. You said they've been doing this since when I had given a date. I read a date. Hold on. She said, oh, she said they've been doing this since 1983. Shaking my head. They've been doing it way before 1983, Dana. This is just 1983 was when they finally uh, put their results and stuff together, right? And they presented it. But they had been, as far as I know, they've been practicing it since like the early 50s, right? At least from what I've read so far, it could have been earlier than that, but from the information that I currently have come across already, I think it's like the early 50s. Yeah, the early 50s when they started testing this. So, okay, number 38, conclusion. There is a sound, rational basis in terms of physical science parameters for considering Gateway to be plausible in terms of its essential objectives. Intuitional insights of not only personal, but of a practical and professional nature would seem to be within bounds of reasonable expectations. However, a phased approach for entering the gateway experience in an accelerated mode would seem to be required if the time needed to reach advanced states of altered consciousness is to be brought within more manageable limits from the standpoint of establishing an organization wide exploitation of Gateway's potential. The most promising approach suggested in the foregoing study involves the following steps. A. Begin by using the Gateway hemisync tapes to achieve enhanced brain focus and to induce hemisphere synchronization. B. Then add strong REM sleep frequencies to induce left brain quiescence, quiescence, screwing that word up, quiescence, Quiescence, quiescence. Okay. B. Then add strong REM sleep frequencies to induce left brain quiescence and deep physical relaxation. C, provide hypnotic suggestion designed to enable an individual to induce deep auto-hypnotic state at will. D, use auto-hypnotic suggestion to attain much enhanced focus of concentration and motivation in rapidly progressing through Focus 12 exercises. E, then repeat steps A and B following use of auto-hypnotic suggestion that an out-of-body movement will occur and be remembered. F, repeat step E to achieve facility in gaining out of body state under conscious control. Alter hypnotic suggestion to stress ability to consciously control out of body movement and maintain it even after REM state ends. G, approach focus 15 and 21 objectives, escape from time, space, and interact within new dimensions from the out of body perspective. H, use multi-focus approach to solve problems of distortion in terrestrial information gathering trips. This approach involves the use of 3 individuals in the out of body state, one viewing the target object here in time space, one viewing it at focus 15 as it slips into the immediate past, and one viewing it at focus 21 as it slips from the immediate future. Debrief all 3 and compare data gathered from the 3 points of view. If care is taken to ensure that the 3 all go out of body together in the same environment, their consciousness their conscious their consciousness energy systems should resonate in sympathetic oscillation. They can tune into the same target on different planes or dimensions with greater effectiveness. I encourage pursuit of full self-knowledge by all individuals involved in the foregoing experiments to enhance objectivity in out-of-body observation and thinking, and to remove personal energy blockages likely to retard rapid progress. J, be intellectually prepared to react to possible encounters with intelligent, non corporeal energy forms when time space boundaries are exceeded. K, arrange to have groups of people in Focus 12 state unite their altered consciousness to build holographic patterns around sensitive areas to repulse possible unwanted out of body presences, meaning put up some barriers so other people going out of body don't get in here. Do you know that's a real thing? You know, like with Area 21 and secret government facilities. Do you know if you try to pull shenanigans and get into like Area 51 or anything that the government has deemed off limits for the public, it's somebody waiting for you right there on watch and out of body. I kid you not. I kid you not. Go test it. Go try it. Go try it. You can get met with a military force. Look, they ain't playing. They ain't playing none of these games with the public because they know what we're capable of. And because they're trying to get you to stay away from it while they use it, they know some people gonna wake up and they're gonna understand, and they're gonna start slipping into some of the places, and they're gonna start pulling what they've been pulling on the world for as long as they've had this information available in other countries and stuff, right? And when it started happening, they realized they had to put people on watch in out of body just for the astral plane. It's a whole guard watch on watch in the astral plane around government facilities, y'all. L, hold on. Let me read this again. K, arrange to have groups of people in Focus 12 state unite their altered consciousness to build holographic patterns around sensitive areas to repulse possible unwanted out of body presences. L, encourage more advanced gateway participants to build holographic patterns of successful attainment and rapid progress for advanced colleagues to assist them in progressing through the gateway system. If these experiments are carried through, it is to be hoped that we will truly find a gateway to gateway and to the realm of practical application for the whole system of techniques which comprise it. I read that again. That was a sentence I told the document. I screwed it up. All right. If these experiments are carried through, it is to be hoped that we will truly find a gateway to gateway and to the realm of practical application for the whole system of techniques which comprise it. And that, my beautiful people, is the reading, the full reading of this document. And it has a bibliography. Let me read this to you. It has 9 bullet points. Okay. So the first reference is Bentov it's Zach Stalking the Wild Pendulum, New York, E.P. Dutton, 1977. Number 2 is Ferguson, Maryland, Carl Pribram's Changing Reality, Human Behavior, May 1978. Number 3, Glideman John. And of course, they're giving the last names first. So I'm just reading it like it is. Glideman John, Einstein Against the Odds, The Great Quantum Debate, Science Digest, June 1983. Number 4, Jagger Melissa, Monograph, The Lamp Turned Laser, Monroe Institute of Applied Science, Faber, Virginia, undated. Number 5, Monroe Robert A., Journeys Out of the Body, New York, Doubleday and Company, 1971. Number 6, Peirce Jill, The Mystical Spiral, New York, Thames and Hudson Incorporated, 1980. Number 7, Sanella Lee, MD, Kundalini Psychosis or Transcendence, San Francisco, Henry S. Dakin, 1976. Number 8, Stone Pat, Altered States of Consciousness, The Mother Earth News, March, April, 1983. And number 9, Tart Charles T., Altered States of Consciousness, New York, Wiley, 1969. And that, my beautiful people, is a complete reading. And clearly we know that a couple pages have been scrubbed from this document, right? Um, I'll see if I can find it. I probably won't ever find it because it's been completely removed from this. It's on file, army release instructions apply. Clearly, we know there were some rules that applied with releasing this, right? Okay, so there's something in here that clearly there was a lot of stuff in here that they don't want us to know about, but the stuff that people are already finding out about, right? They're becoming more spiritual, operating in it. They're releasing like, yeah, it's true. We know we've been using it. We've been using it against y'all, right? And pulling trade secrets and stuff from other countries, private information, all that good stuff, right? So we kind of actually ended on time today, y'all. We normally try to just take an hour, but some days it just kind of goes on a little bit longer, and that's okay. That's okay if you can stay. All right. So with that being said, beautiful people, I guess we'll just go ahead and end this today. Have y'all had a chance to look at any of the resources that I gave y'all? Y'all do any more research than what I shared with y'all over there? Well, actually, I posted on Facebook too, but in the community section, it was some good stuff. I wish I could share everything at one time, but we haven't covered everything, So as we kind of hit it upon, as we come across it in the extra study that we're doing, I'll release some of that information for y'all. Y'all got to go check into it, right? And those of you who have been using your spiritual gifts, you want to call them spiritual gifts, whatever, it's still the same thing. You will know that a lot of these things can be tested and you will find them to be absolutely true. Right. How people know stuff and you can't see them. Y'all, look, this is operating even with the electronics that we have. Y'all know how I've seen a few people talk about it. It's well, if you look at that video that I shared by Billy Carson yesterday, the one where he's given like the secrets to the Merkaba, he talks about it just a little bit about energy and stuff, right? So you know what, our cell phones, y'all know how y'all be on social media, and you can say something, or you don't even have to be on social media. You could just be having a conversation in your house, right? And next time you get on your phone or your laptop or whatever, things will pop up in your suggestion that you've had a conversation about. You don't have to type it in your phone. You don't have to have a like, you don't have to be going back and forth texting somebody talking about it. It will begin to populate, right? And a lot of people saying that it's, well, I think they pull the information by hearing you speak, the type of energy and electronics that are being used with the wireless signals that are being sent. But also I think it's a little bit more than that. I think it's a little bit more than that, because now I see it to where I won't even have to utter a word, right? I could be thinking about something and it will begin to populate in social media. People who are having these type of conversations that I'm thinking about, it will begin to populate. So we don't even have to necessarily speak it out of our mouth. Now it's to the point where we can think about it and we can see it populate, y'all. This is just going to keep developing over the years. My mama said, yeah, Big Brother is listening. I'm telling you, when you begin to learn about energy and how it flows and technology and how it really operates through frequency radio signals and stuff like that, it's like us using, these are like the cell phones and the electronics that we have. It's compared to what technology really is and how they were using technology back in the day. Like, we're just like really, excuse me, rediscovering a lot of this stuff. And they have to move us in phases with little different things with the cell phone, like the radio waves and everything. All this energy has already been out here. We're just developing or redeveloping in a way to where we're able to tap into it. And they actually have devices for us to use. And we don't necessarily need like these devices for real. If you really understand how the body works and how to tap into the frequencies around us. Because remember, before computers and things came out, they actually we were the computers. We were the computers. I saw, it was David not David. I keep calling him. I want to call him David. Billy Carson. He mentioned Hidden Figures in one of his videos. Just everybody seen the movie Hidden Figures. Remember the group of black women that NASA used to compute things? They were computers. People, humans were computers, right? Before computers became a thing, our brains are capable of doing way more than what these electronics that we have today are able to do. The whole design is built on the design of our brain and how it operates, right? So if we learn about our bodies and get back in tune with creation and the earth and all this stuff, we'd be able to do amazing things. We really would. I wonder if light sleepers would be able to experience out of body. I wonder if light sleepers will be able to experience out of body since they hear every little thing. I don't know. They might. They might. Well, let me look. I think they can. So there are, I was gonna say times, but I'm thinking about it, it's every time, right? If I, for instance, some days my husband, he'll work on a project late, right? And if I'm tired, I got everything good, kids down or whatever, I'll go ahead and climb into the bed, or I'll just lay across the bed and I'll go to sleep. And immediately I'm out and either having a dream or it's an out of body experience. But if it's an out of body, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I'm having. It doesn't matter what I'm having. When my husband is walking up the stairs to the house, I completely wake up. And now it's like I'll see him, and I completely wake up and boom, there he is walking into the door. Right. So I don't know. It's weird, but I don't know, I guess just that's just how in tune I am, or I don't I don't know. It just kind of just happens. Um, is it just us or is anyone else experiencing sound dropouts? I don't know. It could be sound dropouts because it went out earlier, but it came back in. Maybe. I don't know. Anybody else experiencing sound dropouts? I think my Wi-Fi is good today. I don't know. It could be me though. I don't know. But yeah, as you just kind of develop, sometimes I'm not able to give like medical terms or scientific terms for things, but I can explain to you what's been happening and you should be able to get it. But light sleepers, they probably can. They probably can. Um so even if I don't know, I think they can, because sometimes I don't be in a deep sleep, and I tend to hear a lot of stuff as well. But I don't know. I guess it really just depends on the person for real. But I think you can. If you can go to an out of body state and you don't have to be sleeping, but if you're doing it naturally, it takes some practice and years to be able to do it as you progress. You don't even have to like go lay down or whatever. You can literally just go sit down and just go tap right in and be able to have an out of body experience or open vision, you know, if you like to hear those words. But it really, they not really believe it, just really depends on the person, right? So, but other than that, y'all, I really ain't got nothing else. I'm gonna share a few more things today for y'all to look into, and yeah, and we'll just kind of like meet back here on Tuesday because we won't be here tomorrow, and tomorrow's a holiday. We won't gonna be here anyway, even if we won the holiday. We don't gonna observe the Sabbath tomorrow. What are night terrors? They're like out of body experiences. Yeah, yeah, I think so. They're like out of body experiences. Yeah, I think so. Um, hold on, let's see. Hold on, y'all. Why don't you just send me something? I'm trying to see if it's something I need to see up here now. It came through on my phone. Hold on, let me look real quick. Oh, okay. Oh yeah. Right. Okay. Okay. Okay, let me go back here. Okay, yeah. So my mama had made a comment. Well, she didn't make it up here. She sent it to me about when we first started talking about the electronics being able to pick up what you're talking about and start uh projecting it and showing it to you. She gave the scripture from Proverbs where, and I forgot just that quick, but that scripture from Proverbs where it says, don't pretty I'm gonna just sum it up. Don't talk about the king, not even in private, right? Because a little bird might take what you said and pretty much shout it. So it says not even in your thoughts are you to like talk about the king, but you have to be aware of your thoughts. And clearly today we know, like, it's not just movies. Our thoughts can literally be read. They really can. So that scripture does it makes a lot more sense today, right? And that little bird or those listening frequencies that we are exposed to can literally resonate what's in here. I'm sorry, Ecclesiastes, not Proverbs. Ecclesiastes 10 verse 20. The night terrors, it's like you're awake but can't move. Oh yeah, some people call it, they say it's like a witch riding your back or something like that. I've dealt with that a lot in my earlier days. But what it is, you're actually come that right there where you're woke, you're actually you were actually astral projecting. You may think you was dreaming, but when that happens, you're actually becoming conscious again, waking up. Whatever it was you just experienced in the astral plane scared you, and it threw you back into your body, and you, because you're scared, you're trying to wake up. But what happens is your spiritual body hasn't fully descended. Your spiritual body or your astral body hasn't fully descended back into your physical body. That's why you can't move. So some people say it's other thing, a demon holding you down. No, that's not what it is. That can be scientifically proven. But your astral spirit has not fully descended back in your body. That's why you can't move. It's not a witch riding your back. It's not a demon holding you down. It's you were astral projecting. You were having an out of body experience. You just gotta wait. But after a few moments or whatever, you'll be able to move. Your body just has to sync back up. So that's what happens there. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Definitely out of body experiences. And so a lot of us have experienced a lot of these things that especially the church tell us to stay away from. And sometimes we just don't ever get answers if we stay in the church. We just stay away from it because they say so it's spooky and the devil might get us. And sometimes that's good enough to keep us away from even asking questions. But then it comes a time, especially if you constantly experience it and nobody in the church want to give you answers, you start going and looking and Googling and trying to figure out, has anybody ever experienced this? Which actually opens up the door for you to get your answers to what's really going on, and people who can really that's really experienced it a lot and can break it down with a science of what is actually happening to you, right? Now that's not a bad thing. We shouldn't be ignorant of spiritual things. But with that being said, beautiful people, I'm just running off at the mouth now. I really ain't got nothing else today. So we'll go ahead and end this. And Tutti Baby still sleep, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the blessing. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Tomorrow we will be starting my big toe. So when he started talking about certain things, we're gonna already be familiar with it and know this ain't a bunch of mumbo jumbo. CIA, the government has been documenting it forever. So the scientific proofs and everything that he goes through and show you how it happens. And he'll actually walk you, if you haven't started reading, he'll actually walk you through how you can begin to experience it yourself by removing all the church mumbo jumbo, all the religious dogma. He's just going to give it to you scientific facts where you can actually do this. It's just like, okay, to bake a cake, you need 3 eggs. You need that mix. Like he's going to give it to you. And it's not hard at all. Really, really simple. And I thought this was a safe one to use. It helped me understand a whole heck of a lot about what's been happening to me spiritually all my life. Answers that I never got in church, right? I'm tell you, science really does back up spiritual principles or creation things that we can't see, right? And that's what science should be, and they do a really good job of it. So we're going to start reading this when we come back Tuesday. Yes, Greer 2, step by step. So I really do hope y'all get fully engaged, because I'm not going to be able to give you everything here, but I'm giving you enough to help you on your journey to begin pulling different things. And then you might come across some stuff that I haven't yet. Come back and share with a sister. Help a sister out, right? Because it's only so much I can focus on, and then I have my expertise in certain things that I do. That's what I'm like really focusing on. So I'm trying to help y'all there. That's my part to give to the body. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. So, but whatever y'all supposed to be doing, come help us sister out. Like we all the body, right? We all working together. Everybody got a part to play for the overall health of the body, right? So share it. But when you share it, remove all the religious dogma, right? I mean, if you don't know how, I know how, but just y'all get it, so that way it's good for all to use. It's not just for a certain group of people. I like to remove all those barriers so everybody can enjoy the wisdom, right? Okay. So I try my best to do it. I probably wasn't so good at it at the beginning. If you watch some of my earlier videos, forgive me. Charge it to my head and not my heart. I'm trying to correct it and adjust, y'all. Trying to make it good for everybody, because this is wisdom for everybody, not just one group of people, right? All right. So with that being said, I love y'all. Let's go ahead and do this blessing. Quick recap. It is Sunday, January the 16th, 2022. Day number 6 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1024. We read through Genesis 16, 17, and 18, and we finished up the last part of the C.I.A. document that they released in the early 2000s. And this is entitled Today's C.I.A. Document Part 5. And also, I'm going to put last part for today. So if people want to make sure they ain't missed a part of any more coming after this, I let them know that Part 5 is the last part. And I think I'm going to adjust the other ones and put Part 1 of 5, Part 2 of 5, Part 3, so on and so forth, right? So, if they don't want to read it themselves, they just want to have somebody else read it for them. They can just kind of come back and listen to me and all my shenanigans throughout the readings for the last 5 days. All right, y'all. Let me pull this blessing up. All right, so thanks for hanging out with me today. The blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Ooh, I didn't mean to do that. Click myself off. Okay. Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Yahuwah will kneel before us, presenting gifts, and will guard us with the hedge of protection. Yahuwah will illuminate the wholeness of his being towards us, bringing order. And he will provide us with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yahuwah will lift up the wholeness of his being and look upon us, and he will set in place all we need to be whole and complete. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people, I love y'all. If there are no more questions, we about to get out of here. All right, that's it. All right, y'all. That's it. We out. Bruce. Bye, family.